Hey guys, welcome back to Ultimate S&S. So today we're going to discuss some things that are happening in other countries and how that can relate to stuff that will happen here in America. So we seem to have this disconnect from reality, like we're in Shangri-La, nothing bad ever happens. If you've ever watched 5 minutes of any news station, bad stuff happens all the time here in America. So, well, it won't get that bad. It will. So, over in Haiti, the World Food Program, for those who don't know what that is led by the UN and all the major nations of the world. They bring food into places like Haiti where they have no food. And let me tell you, they have no food down there right now. People are starving out there. They're dying in their homes because they have no food. They're too weak to get up to even chase a grasshopper. So, what happened? Well, they finally brought some food over to these folks, and they just come up and go, okay, we drop it off at the distribution center. Well, before that food could actually leave the distribution center and go out to help the public, the road gangs came in and they took over everything, and they began shooting up the houses, shooting people down, and they took all the food, and people are now laying there shot, starving still. That's the way it is. The report was actually a woman who was pregnant who was hiding under a bed to keep from getting shot. And she already knew as soon as the food was coming in what was going to happen, and she was prepared. She hid. So here's the article on that for those who are interested. Now, for those who are saying, well, that'll never happen here in our country, there's just no way it could happen in this country. Really? How many times have we watched peaceful protests burn entire cities to the ground? That'll never happen here. Jerking families out of their cars, beating the elderly in the street because of some sort of sense of injustice they feel had been done against not them, but somebody that they can relate to. So that makes it okay to go out and do this stuff. Well, whenever the food shortage reaches, it's going to escalate to a certain point, folks. That is just the way it is. And we are going to be the people having to go to distribution centers to get that kind of stuff. And you're going to be facing that kind of violence if you are not preparing today. I'm not telling you that as a fear monger trying to get you to be like, oh crap, but I'm telling you that because that's what I've seen with my own eyes. Hurricane Michael 2018, folks, we were down here. They were able to get some stores opened up. All right. Now, I'm not talking about opened up for service where they could go and buy a lot of stuff. I'm talking about the fronts of the stores were opened up for these donation points of getting water and things like that, as food, whatever they could get, small things of shampoo. Well, what ended up happening up here at a local Walmart is a guy had come up, he got a buggy, and he filled his buggy with water, and another person was going that way, but instead of going up to see if they had more water, he wanted some of this gentleman's water. He felt he had too much. Knew nothing about him, how many people was in his family. Turns out he was a father that had 3 kids and a wife, and he did not make it home because the other person felt entitled to what he had, and he shot him dead in the freaking parking lot for water. So don't come up and say we as Americans we won't do that. We're just like the rest of these hell bent on destroying themselves nations, guys. That's what it is. So if you're not protecting yourself and you're not stocking up, you're going to have to go out and you're going to have to face that kind of danger and that kind of life. And the reality of it is, most aren't going to make it back. And I don't care how good of a shot you are, how quick on a draw you are, there's always somebody faster because let's face it, if you're going to a FEMA distribution center to get water, the last thing on your mind is someone's going to attack you on your way back to the car because they're too lazy to walk up there and get some water. That's just the way it is, guys. So can it happen in our country? Absolutely. It can happen at any moment in this country, guys. So we need to be waking up to the reality of what's happening around us. With these gun grabs like the HR 1808, that's not going to pass in the Senate, but that's what that is. They push this stuff out there to get people to go, oh crap, well, I don't want to be a criminal, so they go and get rid of all their stuff. Well, then with the pricing of everything that's going up, it's not just pricing of food going up, folks. Prices of everything is going up right now. But that's what inflation is. Now we're seeing a higher gouge on food because there's just not as much food. It's the availability to the demand, and there's not as much enough there. It's just not. And people like to come in and say, well, that's because of preppers are hoarding food. You can call it what you want. The thing is, we have been preparing for years. This is not last moment stuff. And when we buy our groceries and stuff, we're rotating that into our preps as well. Uh, It's always the unprepared get mad at those who are prepared. It's just like the parable of the virgins. You go up, you got the ones that are keeping the wicks trimmed and their oil filled, and then the ones that are going out being foolish. And when it comes time for the groomsmen to come for the bride, they all give us some of yours. You know, there was some fighting to be going on in that. And that's the way the world is today. You're out doing foolish, stupid stuff while everybody else is preparing. And then when it comes down to it, you go, "Oh God, it's a good thing you prepared, man. Can I have some?" No, no, you can't. Sorry, that's not the way this works. So while I am somebody who will try to help anyone that I can, I'm also not someone who's going to run around and help the slothful. That's just the way it is. So you need to be getting food now. You need to be getting supplies now. You need to be focusing on getting some sort of self defense for your home. All right. And I don't mean this smart gun garbage right here. Yeah, so imagine that. You're going to be sitting in your home, somebody's breaking in, and you got to deal with, where's my phone so I can unlock this? Or hang on a second, I get the screwdriver so I can take the side off of this thing so I can access these little micro buttons that's going to be hard to see in the dark or whatever. Or, it's just, it's really stupid the way this thing is. Well, we need to put an app. They got an app for that. That's the answer for everything. Let's make an app for that. No, man. Let's just use some common sense. We should be offering firearms training to every American, and every parent should be teaching their child about firearm safety. I don't know when exactly that stopped, but I can remember growing up. Go out hunting and stuff. People are like, well, aren't your kids kind of young for hunting? Well, I didn't think I was too young. I mean, I was like 8 years old, but my dad had went over everything with a firearm and safety, and there was no accidents. Why? Because he took the time to train exactly what to do with that firearm. Do not shoot unless you know exactly what is in that field of fire. And people are just so stupid with stuff. They'll put something, they're like, oh man, I gotta hide that from my kids, and they'll hide it somewhere. Well, when you're off and you're leaving your kid at home, let me tell you something. We were all kids at some point. What are they doing? What did you do? You're going through every nook and cranny at the house. And then they find something there, if they've never been around it, don't know what it is, then yes, accidents happen. Well, it's not really accidental, it's negligence on your part, guys. But that's the way I feel about it. So my advice to you is get as much food as you can. Don't be one of those people that's going to have to go out and ask FEMA for help, because chances are between the location you go to and coming back, something bad can happen. Even if you get there and you're getting the food, imagine what happens when they come out and say, oh no, you got to get some kind of an identifier put in your hand, or whatever. That's where this is coming to. People need to wake up. They expect that, mark of the beast in the tribulation period, 7-year tribulation period, is just going to come on just like boom, there it is. No, it tells us it comes on as labor pains. And if you look and you see everything that's happening in society around the world is leading up to a one world government that will have to, they're going to rule over everything, and you're going to have to do what the heck they say, or you're going to be considered a terrorist to them. And that is where we're at today. So I thought it was kind of interesting today. Well, it actually happened a couple of days ago, but I was reading about it. And Ted Cruz, he has these different types of little flags on the backs of his shoes. Well, it turns out he was having a conversation with some of the FBI heads of office, and apparently anyone that has certain types of flags, certain types of symbols and stuff, they are thrown on an FBI watch list. So apparently Ted Cruz was on this watch list, and he wanted to know why. And they're saying we had no idea that that's what's going on. Please. And that's where it's at, guys. It's plausible deniability. The ones that are just doing what they're told, they're just following orders. They don't know what the big goal is. They're just following orders. They're blind. They're brainwashed, just like the rest of society. So it's time to wake up. It's time to get your food. It's time to get your water. It's time to get your stuff. Get it all set up so you're not having to go out into town and deal with that. But also, so you're going to be able to sit here at your house. You're going to have exactly what you need to defend yourself. Is what it's going to come down to. And if you're not preparing in those manners, you're not going to make it. That's just the facts of it. Everyone's like, well, how do I do this, or how do I do that? Do something. You can't just sit there, well, I don't know what to do, and just sit. Because let me tell you, yes, God answers prayer, but it always requires an action on our behalf. So Everyone have a great day. We're going to get off here.